Peace, y'all. So I am checking in with a late summer. It is the middle of August. We have just a few more weeks of fall, but we still have many weeks and days of the growing season until our first frost or deep freeze. So this is a tour that is showing what the late summer garden looks like, and also how I am slowly transitioning into either some late summer crops or preparing for fall. So planting crops that are going to be going into the fall. So yes, if this is your first time seeing a tour, so the garden is kind of mapped out in three different spaces. I have the front row that holds a lot of the herbs, but also each row has in-ground growing spaces, but this is where you'll see a lot of my medicinal and culinary herbs. The middle row is my orchard area that houses all of my fruit trees, and the back row is where I have a lot of my other sort of forever fruit plants, fruit vines and fruit bushes. All right, so let's get into it, starting with the front row, and I'll go on the front and the back side of each row pretty much, because you can kind of see it from a different angle. But starting with the front row, the cucumbers are just now starting to show signs of dying back. As you can see, I got a ton up here that needs to come off and be harvested that are pretty big, but I don't plan on doing any harvesting until tomorrow morning. I want to go ahead and get this video done. The volunteer tomatoes in here are also starting to finally put on some fruit. They definitely need some support, but yes, they do not have any support right now. But yes, those are the tomatoes, and I'm pretty sure those are volunteer Brandywine red that I had in this bed last year. Either that, I don't see a lot of discoloration on them. I do see some splitting, and that's pretty notorious for the Cherokee purple. So this can either be Brandywine or Cherokee purple. I have to see once the fruit starts to ripen. So yes, and I'll go ahead and go on the other side of this bed. The marigolds have also been showing out as expected. So yes, that is that for the first bed. The herb containers with the mint. Of course, the mint is gonna look a little crazy because of the heat and the weather. The Japanese basil still looks beautiful. I harvested a lot and have a lot of that drying out in the apothecary right now. Canna lily looking eaten up as expected from the pest. The summer pest. So this area here is where I had the Dollar Tree stackable herb containers. I actually do plan on removing what herbs that did pop up and all, because I did all this from seed, but a lot of this is mint that came up and already went to seed and looks beautiful. So I want to move that into just some larger containers. This whole container, I believe, was oregano. And yes, I tried the containers again just to see how the herbs would do, but it's still just so much on maintaining the watering because they dry out so fast. So I'm just gonna just call it quits on even trying to use the stackable containers, to be honest. So this spot would just be another spot where I start to put larger herb containers, like I like to use the metal ones, and you'll see the circle ones back over here. So this spot here is gonna be a new bed that I'm actually prepping and about to pull back the tarp on. Well, I have pulled back the tarp on and started to prepare it, pulling out all the rocks, because when I first started gardening, I did all containers, and I wanted to have some beautiful rocks around the containers and planters. So of course, when I started to transition the space from containers to in-ground, I was like, I'm not picking up all these rocks. I'm just gonna grow over it. And here I am, eventually having to pick up all the rocks. But this space has been tarred for, honestly, I want to say at least 4 months. And with all the heat, it is definitely broken down the grass in this space, and I have a beautiful bare canvas of soil for me to plant some southern peas and collards in here. But I'll just be preparing the space a little bit more by adding compost and working that with my hand tools into the soil. So very excited about that. And I've just been keeping it covered just so the cats don't think it's a free space for them to use as a litter box. All right, so moving on. Of course, the space around the elephant ears is still looking crazy and full of grass because I haven't really, prioritized the time to go in and tend it, or really, it would just be completely cut back, to be honest. Like, there's really no need to try and go in and remove the grass in between the elephant ears because they'll be cut back, but they'll come back very well. So it's really not a big thing to try to keep the elephant ears growing because they're gonna grow. They in the soil, they're gonna grow no matter what, no matter how many times you cut them back and pull them out and whatnot. So yes, I'll go ahead and touch on the apothecary garden, or the apothecary area while I'm here, because I usually forget at the end. But I think the yarrow has been died back for a while. The mums have also stopped flowering, which is kind of interesting. But I can tell they've been putting on a good amount of new growth. So it's gonna be, this is actually cover cropped alfalfa that has been coming back in that same spot since I put cover crop seeds down probably 2 or 3 years ago now. But this mum over here, is just big and beautiful. Lots of growth on that. And you can actually kind of see some of the yarrow trying to come back on the sides. And this is the seed starting area for the fall crops. I do have 1 tray of brassicas in there, or collards. These are specific collards. Got 1 tray started, but that is one of so many that I have not even started yet. So, and these 2 plants I actually just got today. I just need to put them in the ground in the new homes. That's a raspberry bush, and that is a salvia plant that I plan to put that one over near the cut flower garden for ornamental use and not necessarily medicinal. And that's going to go right beside my blackberries. All right, so this is the backside of the loofah trellis. Literally my favorite place in the garden probably this year. I was most excited about it, and I'm so happy that it has literally been flourishing. And also, the eggplant are still kind of in here on this side of the double bed. The green beans are definitely dying back, which is to be expected for green beans. Green beans are not super high heat loving plants. And yeah, the eggplants are still growing strong. They're not necessarily fruiting, but the plants still look healthy. So I'm actually going to see if I can overwinter the plants and keep them here and have them grow back next year. We'll see. And I'll show you a little bit about what I'm doing in this bed when I get to the other side. I'm preparing this side for some new seeds, but I'll go ahead and show inside the trellis on this side just a little bit. There are so many loofah in here, it don't make any sense at all. Just so many loofah, and the leaves are just so big. I love this trellis. So beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful. All right, moving on. This is a spot where there's wild pokeweed and dog fennel, canna lily. I try to keep it maintained in one spot and not moving into the beds. So I pull out plants a lot. All right, moving on here to this bed where you can't even tell where the bed is. This is the African cousins I planted. These tall stalks that you see are Della sorghum that have actually put on seeds, or yeah, I guess you would say put on their seed heads finally. Well, the grain, it's a grain and it's a seed head, but they finally put on their heads and bloomed. And all of what you see wrapped around the stalks and literally just going all over the place, those dark green leaves are for southern peas, red ripper southern peas. And I think there are actually a lot, but you can't really see them looking nice and beautiful and red on this side. I think there may be some on the other side that I can show you. But that is the sorghum. And the last portion of our African cousin is our watermelon that is literally sprawling all over the ground. I pulled off at least 3 watermelon now. 2 that were ripe, and they were just sitting in the ground because I'm really still learning watermelon and not exactly sure when the watermelon are ready to be harvested. But this is the watermelon, y'all. You can see my hand. Beautiful. And I'm not even sure what variety of watermelon these are. A lot of what I planted were saved seeds. I do know some of those seeds were sugar baby and yellow or orange watermelon. And before I move from that bed, so yeah, there actually is one bed here that's covered, very similar to this one, with that will both not be planted until next spring. So, and underneath the mimosa tree, this is where I've just been keeping some of the nursery plants that I've been taking to the farmers markets. And that's really just the elephant ears, and eventually I'll pull up some canna, uproot some canna, and do a few nursery plants of those as well. Because y'all see how much elephant ears and canna lily there is to spread the love with. And this is a new addition that I don't know, hasn't been in the ground that long, but it has literally loved this space and has taken off. I need to get a trellis for it, but this is a honeysuckle plant that I just got from Lowe's on clearance, and it has been loving this spot. So I'm excited to see this just completely grow to its full ability once I get a trellis for it. All right, so moving on, I'm going to show you the other side of the African cousins. As you can see, watermelon is literally popping up all over the place. Look at that one on the cardboard, and a little baby right there, and another one right there. This watermelon is just going crazy. So crazy. Let's see. So there are actually a lot of peas that have grown. So maybe the Red Ripper does not have red pods. Because I don't see any red pods. I see a lot of green pods. Maybe there's just a red pea. This is a pod that's ready to be harvested for seed, actually. So I'll probably have to come and do some seed harvesting as well tomorrow during my harvesting morning. Look at the sorghum. It's so tall. So tall. I think the sorghum may be taller than what the sunflowers were. They're a little hunched over now because their heads are holding all that nice, full, and ripe seed. But I may take a quick video after to see how tall that sorghum cane is. That is insane. All right, so before I show you the other side of the loofah trellis, I'll just touch on what you see here. These 4 100-gallon grow bags will eventually be the citrus grove that I'm planning on putting in these bags. So yeah, throwing some lemon and some lime, some dwarf varieties that will be okay with growing in these bags. And I wanted to put them in bags so it'll feel a little bit more easier to give them frost protection during the winter. So that's the plan on those, but I just want to get them started because I had a big pile of mulch, and I like to kind of just go ahead and get a vision kind of mapped out. So back to the loofah trellis. So yeah, as I mentioned, I started working on this side, just pulling out all the grass. There were a lot of, lettuce and chamomile that went to seed here, but it's been so long since all those things went to seed, they kind of were just all broken down. So it really was just grass in here. So even if all those seeds are still in the ground, that's fine with me. I'm just going to be planting chamomile and spinach here very soon, as soon as I get this cleaned up and add some compost. That's what I'll be planting. So hopefully those will not bolt, and I'll be able to harvest Sorry, y'all. I had to make sure that bee was not trying to attack me because I was hoping they would be asleep by now. And we have some pretty aggressive ground bees right now. So yes. Okay. Yes. So once I pull out all the grass, I did about half of this bed last night, but my back just said, okay, we'll just do the rest tomorrow. And yeah, once I get some compost and manure, and just work that into the bed a little bit, then I'll plant some arugula seed and some spinach. And I thought they would be good to plant here right now. Typically, I can wait pretty late into the season to sow my arugula, but I wanted to get a few harvests that can actually go to the farmer's market, at least in September, just to have something to go to the farmer's market. And yeah, just another view of the loofah. I'm not doing anything with this back row. This back row has another fall plan that I won't be planting in right now, but just another POV of the loofah. Wow. That is I don't even know. That's not even a yellow jacket. I don't even know what the heck that is, but he needs to go to sleep. Y'all, the pests have been very busy and very angry. And don't mind the grass. I have not came in and weeded it because of how aggressive the bees have been. But okay, we're just gonna move on. These middle containers are the more herb containers. So more herb containers and my strawberry containers. So the middle one is all strawberries. This one has thyme and strawberries. And yes, they look 8 and up because it's hot again, y'all. And the only really heat loving herb that there is like basil. Basil loves heat. Hence why my Japanese basil has just been having a time. But yes, the thyme and strawberries. This one here has all strawberries. I don't know why the strawberries are looking so 8 and up, but my rosemary plant. And here is actually some asparagus crowns that I started a while ago that I finally just left my slow release fertilizer out here last night. That I finally just got the asparagus in the ground, and I want to start some more. But I started those from like $2 crowns from the dollar store, which is why I started them out the ground, just to make sure that they actually did something. And this container over here has some 8 and up sage and some 8 and up strawberry plants as well. Okay, let me come back out of here. In this bed, where you can't even tell where the bed actually is, we have marigolds, volunteer marigolds. We have tomatoes that are just crazy, that really took a hit during the summer. I don't know, all of the fruit just were not healthy at all. They were just rotting on the vines and really, really looking nasty. So I pruned these plants a lot and actually took those cuttings, at least 3 good cuttings, and put them in those soil bags over there. And we are finally starting to get some fruit on them. For a while I was thinking we weren't going to get anything, and these are all both Cherokee purple. There's only 2 plants in here. Let me see, I saw another tomato coming somewhere. But yeah, lots of flowers too. Lots of flowers. So yeah, hopefully they'll do a little bit something. Look at these aerial roots growing on the stems. So crazy. And also in this bed we have peanuts. Also probably one of the most interesting things to grow. I love growing peanuts, but they have just filled out so well in this bed. The peanuts look beautiful. And the last thing for us to see back over here is it's the herb containers. I'm just checking to make sure that the ground bees are not out and having a grand time, because their nest is like right on the other side of the apple tree, so don't want to be stung today. So back here we have a container that has some more Japanese basil and some beautiful lemongrass that I actually need to harvest off of, and some mint in that container back there. I had some wormwood in this one, but looks like it's been eaten up and it's not in there any longer. But in the mint back here has also gone to seed or to flower. But that's a better look at the lemongrass. So beautiful, and it smells amazing. I need to harvest it. And yeah, as you can see, this space also just grows crazy with the elephant ears. Like I told y'all earlier, I've chopped and pulled and tugged and removed so many, and they are very resilient, so they can withstand a lot. If you want a plant that's not gonna leave at all, that's your girl. So this is the start of the middle row / the orchard. So it's the orchard and the grow bag row, basically. So we have a pear tree up here, which I'm not even really sure how happy he is here. He's looked actually not like this. These leaves on him are actually kind of very new. Over the last month, he just put on the leaves that you do see. But if these are signs he's still alive, so I'm not gonna pull him out. But next year, if he still looks like this, he's definitely coming out next spring. And like I mentioned earlier, these 3 soil bags have prunings or cuttings from the Cherokee purple tomatoes over there. And yeah, we got some flowers, so hopefully we get some fruit on these boys. They definitely need to be properly staked and given some support. Yeah, I don't know, these Cherokee purple tomatoes this year have just grown all wonky. Their stems have just been growing all kinds of ways this year. This is one of my Red Delicious apple trees. He is younger than his cousin over here, hence the size difference. They're about 1 year difference in size. And these grow bags, I'll probably just end up doing I think I'll be doing some roots in there during the fall. I'll actually be putting roots interplanted with most of the brassicas that I'm planting for the fall. But I'll probably just try to do some in the bags as well. And this is the other apple tree. And I'll try to sneak by and see if the ground bees are out. Just see if the ground bees are out and just go on about my way. They have a nest over there. needs to be removed, but I have not built up the courage to do all the measures that it is going to take to remove them. Okay, so this is one of the peach trees. I think this one here is the Georgia Belle, and this one is the Red Haven, or maybe I have them swapped. But those are my peach babies, and they just came in the ground. I just got them this year. So yeah, this one's the Red Haven. I just got them this year. I'm so happy that they came and decided they were happy. I will actually give that to the tree tone that I have. That tree tone has been working wonders, really. These containers, I don't know. I had potatoes in here, and then I didn't harvest the potatoes once they died back. So maybe there are still some potatoes in here. Maybe they have gone to meet the Lord and just became one with the soil. It's quite possible that either or is the truth for that. But it's been raining so much, so I definitely am not harvesting them now. This is my crabapple tree. I got this tree because I heard that the crabapple is just a really great pollinator for all other fruit trees. So I came across this one when I brought the peach trees, actually, and I said, he's going in the ground, and he has some blooms, some beautiful blooms. Even though he grows a little wild and a little kinked and bent, he's going well. All right, now to the back row. As I mentioned, this row has a lot of other forever fruit that aren't trees, so bushes and vines, and then of course the regular in-ground spaces. These are blackberry bushes. There's 2 here, 1 and 2. These also just got in the ground this year, and kudos to the tree tone. I think they really loved being in some soil. I'm not really sure how exactly I'm going to support or trellis them. I think the blackberries vine, so they may need some trellising to support them. I need to look that up. This bed, I say it all the time, it's supposed to be my milkweed garden. Right now it's just a wildflower container area because my milkweed that I put in here and tried to overwinter did not come up. I'm not sure what this is. I'm not sure what that is. Interesting. It looks like some sort of deal or something. Oh, actually, I do think one day that I came in here and put some dill seeds down and probably forgot about them. But now that I see that, I actually do really think that I came in here one day and looked at the one bare spot that there was down there in the soil and put some dill. I don't know. I'm not sure. Not sure, y'all. All right. Moving on to this bed. This bed has a lot going on, but it's so beautiful and abundant. So mostly there's peppers here, but we also have 2 eggplant in here, and we also have 1 tomato plant. And the reason being that the tomato and the 2 eggplant are here is because those were the 3 plants that I had left that I actually grew from seed that were taking a little bit longer to get some size on them before I put them in the ground, along with some of the other plants that I grew that I just brought from other places, other markets, and other growers that theirs already had a good amount of size for me to go ahead and transplant out into the ground. And we also have some okra that I planted not too long ago. And we also have some southern peas here. It's a beautiful blend of so many things. And I'm gonna need you to get out of my garden. Get you. And I actually sowed some squash just a few days ago. Looks like my patty pan, I think, that I put here, some pretty old seeds. The patty pan didn't come up, but I did some green zucchini and some yellow crookneck squash. And that's what that's looking like. I'm excited. This is my first time growing okra, so I'm excited. I'm kind of confident that these plants will get a pretty decent size, and I'll get at least 1 or 2 good harvests before the frost come. And this is the peppers, y'all. I have every kind of pepper in here that you could imagine. There's cayenne, shishitos, which were my which is what I was most excited to grow about, because I've heard other growers just rave about them. So shishitos, I do have a bell pepper in here, have a couple jalapenos, banana peppers. This one is looking sad. I think that's a banana pepper, but it looks so sad. I don't know if it's been getting ate on. It looks like it's been getting ate on by something. Interesting, y'all. Or maybe this bed also just needs some fish emulsion. But it's been raining so much, so I have to wait until there's at least a good handful of days, like a break from the rain in the forecast, before I do the fish emulsion, because once it rains, it's kind of just like pointless, because it's all gonna run through the soil too fast and not take its time to get root contact to actually fertilize the plants. And here are those eggplants that I mentioned. And the tomato, y'all can see, because she's leaning and going all over the place. She also needs support. As y'all can tell, this is a kind of the routine with the tomatoes this year. They all have a great lack of support. But granted, my tomatoes I typically just let grow wild. I don't prune tomatoes, and I stake them and give them support when I feel like it. Oh, probably my third favorite of the garden this year, my beautiful patch of Roselle. Miss Roselle. Look at all of those calyx, Miss Roselle. AKA Jamaican hibiscus, if you're not familiar with the name Roselle. Also was used to make sorrel, if you're more familiar with that name. So beautiful. And also in this bed there is amaranth. My intentions were to grow amaranth to use the greens, which the greens is callaloo. The grain that comes from the callaloo is the amaranth. But the bugs love the plants, so they were eating up one variety that I had on this side and another variety that I had on that side. And this one was the most resilient, and I just let it go to seed because I wasn't too interested in actually eating these leaves. I mean, they're just so pretty. I don't really know if I'm interested in eating them. So yeah, that's that bed. And I actually skipped over the blueberry bushes because they're kind of hiding. This one here, I got a lot of fruit from this year. It's about, I think I've had that one about 3 years, even though it's still small, y'all, I know. But these two bare roots I put in the ground this year. So no fruit from those this year, but Yeah, small but mighty. And the blueberries that came off of that bush were delicious. All right, it's thundering, so probably gonna get some rain soon. Hopefully, a nice little shower. I've been loving the week of rain, to be honest, because that means I don't have to come in and water anything. It's just the most beautiful thing, to be honest. All right. So, okay, the forever fruit that's up next is the elderberry bush. Probably my fourth favorite thing. I got a lot of favorite things this year, y'all. Probably my fourth favorite thing this year growing. My elderberry bush, these two, Mr. John and Mr. Adam, are only 2 years old, and they were so prolific this year. This cluster is now ready to come off. I was letting it ripen a little bit more, but I think that is going to be our last cluster for the season. I don't see any more coming on, but yes, Mr. John and Mr. Adams showed out this year, and those are their variety names, which is why those are their names. So loved growing elderberry this year. So beautiful. All right, in the bed right beside it is full of all my cherry tomatoes, which I need to come in and actually harvest in the morning and try to take some to the farmer's market, because I've been, well, maybe not even take any to the farmer's market because it's probably just a good handful in here, but I need to actually eat the cherry tomatoes. I have yet to harvest to consume or to not let them go bad in the fridge. I've been pretty disconnected from the tomatoes this year. Typically, I like to grow a ton of tomatoes to can up for sauce, but I have so much sauce left from last year, so I haven't really been prioritizing the tomatoes. So maybe that's why my tomatoes aren't growing the best, because my energy is just not centered on them. But yeah, the cherry tomatoes are in here, and I have some marigolds that I put seeds down kind of late. I was hoping it was going to support the pests, the stink bugs that have literally actually also been just devouring the fruit and sucking out all the juice from the tomatoes. So that's one of the reasons why I really haven't been consuming them like that, because most of the harvests have been getting ruined by the stink bugs. So yeah, this little wild space here is some wildflowers, which you really can't even tell what's going on. Some wildflowers in here, some zinnias. There were a little bit of borage in here. There was some sunflowers that I had in there as well, but they've now died back. And next over is my grapes. Well, one of my grapes. These are the Catawba grapes. They're a seeded table grape that are kind of native to the northeastern area of the state of the country of the U.S. Got a nice big harvest on them already. There are quite a few fruit that could probably come off of this vine now that are pretty ripe. You can see that one right there. It's hard to see now because it's getting dark. And the mammoth sunflowers, or the sunflowers, because I do have a few that decided to join the party on the other side. But the mammoths, I'm just waiting for the heads to be fully developed, and then I will cut them. You can let the heads dry on the stems, but typically the birds will try to come in. I have not seen but one bird actually even in the area yet, knock on wood. Last year they really got the sunflowers, but I haven't seen them a lot. So yes, definitely keep an eye out, because I want these big beautiful heads to actually, maybe depending on how I'm feeling, to go in to the state fair competition for like the biggest sunflower heads. So we'll see, y'all. We'll see. All right. And right underneath the sunflowers is this little spot here. Is pretty much starting my ornamental garden or cut flower garden. I have a very ate up looking hydrangea bush because I moved it from a spot where it wasn't doing good, and then it got here. I thought it was going to be better, and it hasn't. But it's all good. It is what it is. But the bunny ear plant on this side that I got from Lowe's on clearance is literally filled in so much. And this is where I'll be putting that salvia plant that I showed y'all at the beginning of the vlog that I just brought today. So over here in the cut flower garden, the coxcomb looking beautiful, the zinnia still looking beautiful. I will be putting some nasturtiums down. Nasturtiums don't typically last like super high heat, but I'm hoping by the time it starts to cool down for the early fall, it'll be the perfect temperature for them. And what else? I think that's it that I'm going to be planting here right now until about late November, and that's when I'll actually start my round of cool flowers again, like overwintering the bachelor buttons again and the snapdragons again, like I did this year, and they did so well. All right, tucked in here we have another forever fruit plant. This is a dwarf banana tree. He's been doing okay, y'all. They're looking a little straggly, like his leaves all tore up, but the rain has definitely helped him. He was struggling a little bit because it was dry. This container is empty, but it will be the home of my ginger and turmeric. It's a lot of food scraps in here right now, so I'm really getting the soil ready for next year to have a beautiful harvest of, I don't know if I'll do turmeric. I really mainly want to do ginger, but yes. And this here, this is just ground space covered. That is going to be the bed of my muscadines. I got one here by that T-post and one over there by the T-post. And the reason why I give, I decided to give them a lot of understory is so that I can have understory plants covering the ground. And yeah, it's kind of similar to how the catawba grapes are as well. But the catawba grapes are growing so crazy that they pretty much cover their own understory at this point with all their vines. But until the muscadines get to that point, I'll be able to plant understory plants or herbs there to, just keep the ground covered. All right, the last bed of the row, before I just take a loop and show y'all the other side of this row. This is where the corn was, my sweet corn. I did harvest all the ears off already. And what I did was just pretty much chop the stalks in half, and actually chopped and dropped them and put them right in that bed, so that it can open up a bit, and so that I could plant my southern peas. And keep the stalks there because they will get dry and stay in the ground, and allow the peas to crawl up them until the microorganisms really start to work on eating the roots of the stalk, which from what I saw growing sweet corn last year, that pretty much is not happening for a very long time. So beautiful blend of southern peas, including a promiscuous pea from Utopian, some purple whole peas that I saved and grew from last year, and some purple knuckle peas. Ooh, y'all hear the thunder. But it looks like the rain is pretty much passing over us, though. But that cloud is very dark, but it's light back there. So beautiful. So beautiful. Okay, so yeah, this really was supposed to be a Three Sisters bed, but I pretty much never got the corn planted. I did have the cantaloupe planted though. It didn't really do all the crawling and ground covering like it was kind of intended to do, but we have a cantaloupe up here, and it has not detached itself yet. Oh, well, she's ready. Divine popped right off, so she's already cantaloupe. So that's the cool thing about cantaloupes compared to watermelon. Watermelon will stay attached to a fresh green stem, but the cantaloupe will actually detach itself when it's ready and ripe. I want watermelon to do that because it can be a bit tricky to tell when the watermelon is ready without exactly looking at the tendril and making sure that the tendril closest to the watermelon is actually brown and ready. And this cantaloupe smells so sweet. I can smell it literally right here in my arms. All right, here's the other side real fast of the cut flower bed. I planted couple more zinnias down here. Couple more zinnias. Pretty spotty germination, but it's all good. This is where the snapdragons were, and the caterpillars have finished eating on what they wanted to eat. So yeah, this will be pulled up, and both sides I'll just be doing a strip of nasturtiums, the full length of the bed. Just another tall view of the sunflowers. So beautiful. And there are just a couple, y'all. Here's a better look of the bunny ears too. So pretty in there. They're like fuzzy leaves. So pretty. Here's a better view at the sunflowers, and I thought this one was pretty interesting. Look at that. Hold on. Let's see. Look at that seed head. Let's see. Look at that seed head, y'all. It's like little tiny sprouts. Weird stuff. And look at these little tiny things. I'm not surprised that what I planted over here didn't really show up and show out, because you have these three gigantic things just soaking up everything it can from the soil. So every fall I chop and drop and also throw food scraps into my sunflower bed, because I don't know if these big boys are heavy feeders or not, but I would assume they are, just doing all of this work. So yeah, this is the other side of the grapes, and we're gonna walk down here and look at the other side of the cherry tomatoes, and that's gonna be it for our vlog. This is the cherry tomatoes. I might have a nice little basket just to take to the farmer's market tomorrow and just say, here you go, if you want a cherry tomato to snack on. Yeah, there's nothing planted at the soil base right now. Um, and I probably won't plant anything until it's time to do brassicas and roots for the fall, which won't be until the end of September. Oh, this zinnia over here. This zinnia is gorgeous. I haven't really seen a lot of orange blooms. It's so pretty. Very pretty. It really stands out. All right, y'all. Let's see if I can see any grapes. Can't see any right now because it's now officially getting dark. But that is the tour. Let's see. Okay. I like to stand back and give y'all another overview, but that is the tour for tonight of the late summer garden. And we got a cantaloupe out of it. All right, I'm about to take a quick video in front of this stalk of sorghum for the Instagram page. All right, peace, y'all.